So of course the main focus is we do a Metta Bhavana practice, a cultivation of loving kindness. But as I often say, we don't need to cultivate anything. We just need to allow what's there, and experience and feel. It's a feeling practice. It's not a thinking. It's not thinking practice. But also I want to sort of emphasize, it's just not about a meditation. It's about our life. It's about when we go around everywhere, really. The atmosphere that we feel or create or put out, as we, wherever we are or whoever we're with, or on our own, our mind and creates, as we know, the next moment, and it depends what it's dwelling on now, to what how we feel, wherever, you just might be walking down the high street, and it's sort of like, you can just for a moment just sort of feel, oh yeah, these are all humans and I'm connected, and they're, got their joys and struggles just like I have. It's really bringing it into life. And maybe, when you're out, choosing your next neutral person, oh yeah, that's going to be my next neutral, sort of like breathing it into all of life. And so, and that's more how you will experience a more positive way of just who you are and how you are. And of course, like tomorrow, you may be out and about in a shop, and there'll be some people without masks, or just watch how we are with that, and it's sort of like, okay, ideally they would be, but it's like what we do, it's just sending them some sort of kindness somehow, rather than a low dose of irritation, which will upset us, actually. But it's sort of automatic, these things. We have a response to an experience, a person, anything really, immediately, and it's just trying to then make a choice. That's why meditation is so fantastic at just giving us more space in our head, in our heart, to just, okay, yeah, that's how I responded. That's how it was. We don't have to then, knock ourselves, as we so often do, or indulge it. It's like, okay, so what's now? How can I respond? And it is a practice. We're in training in a sense. I mean, of course, none of us have to do this at all. But as we know, and why you're here is, we know it makes a big difference to just our experience. Well, when we're on our own and when we're with others, it's just sort of a simple thing, but it's trying to remember. I think if we could only remember, so often that's the problem, isn't it? It's trying to remember in those moments where we sort of, or where I spiral into a story. It's always a story or a projection, and it's mine. It's not even the situation or the person's, and it's just seeing that delightful, we're all really, really good at creating soap operas. Who needs EastEnders when we've got our own heads? It's sort of like, we can do it, but we can also, as we are already, creating a different sort of future, a different sort of future. We can't do anything about the past and what we've done, apart from have kindness towards whatever that was. So this practice, as I talk through it, it's very much about cushion and life. They're trying not to see it at all. Well, it's not separate. In a way, the cushion's to help life. It's not, it's not like we do it and then we can forget it for the rest of the day, right, tick, done, which, I've definitely had phases of, I've done that, yeah, that's just going to be miserable all day. But anyway, not that we choose to do that, but we can't, it's a grey day and something hasn't gone right, and and you're weighing this on you, and you're thinking, oh my, and oh, what an awful life. And yeah, I had a bit of that last Thursday, but not because I had this class. Or maybe, no, it was shouldn't be. We were doing loving kindness last week, weren't we? Anyway, but anyway, you know what I mean, don't you? Yes, I mean, that's not on my notes at all here. So look at what I wrote down. Not that it matters, does it? Well, hopefully not. You'll let me know if it does. Yes, so it's sort of getting into emotions, sort of the emotion of it. It's not thinking, okay? This practice is not thinking. Yeah, we need a bit of thought to sort of, get us in there. But once we're just being with whoever it is or ourselves, it's just, we're just sitting with, noticing, a bit like when we did the embodied meditation, which I'll start today's meditation with an embodiment, getting in our body. It's just so, because, metta, love, it's not a big, huge experience generally. Okay, we may have the odd moment in our life where it is, but generally it's not. It's sort of subtle, and it needs us to be quiet and sort of relaxed and notice and listen. It's a bit like, what's it like? Well, it's like, I've got a bird feeder right outside my French windows, and if I just move a bit too much, they're gone, but if I move subtly and quietly or something, that I can have more of an richness or more of an experience of watching that bird doing its thing. Do you see what I mean? So we don't frighten or mask the emotion, which often we do with thought very quickly. Yeah? You sort of think, can you see that? So it is being with, I'm just being with me. Yeah, just being with me, that first stage. And that's where the learning is. It's in the quiet. I know I definitely made this mistake at the beginning, well, quite a few years probably, it's sort of like, I tried to think it all too much. I've got to do something. Oh yeah, may I be happy? Oh no, nothing. Oh, may I be well? No, nothing, and it's sort of like, yes, drop the pebble in, may I be happy, and say it in a spirit and a feeling that you mean it, not sort of, may I be happy. It ain't gonna happen, is it? So it might give you some humour maybe, but so yeah, it's just dropping a real feel, and just see. It's like the pebble in the well. Well, is there any water in there? Is there any life down the bottom there? And you may get a ripple or not. But also what we do is we get, it's a job to say what it is, but it's like a deeper knowing of ourselves or something. It's like things do come to the mind, and it's like noticing, in the space, in the quiet, what's going on. So yeah, the traditional practice when it's first taught is with these phrases. So you can certainly use them, and you can make whatever phrase you want up, what feels appropriate. Tradition is may I be happy, and then with the next stage is may you be happy. Well, you don't want to be miserable, do you? So it's not just it's a big thing. It can come out very easy, may I be happy, what's that, 4 words, may I be happy. It's like engaging with you. Oh gosh, yeah, it's so much about what our life's about, isn't it? We're trying to be happy, and we're trying to make other people happy, on whatever level that is. And may I be well, again, it's little, but blimey, we don't want to be ill, even if I've hurt my little finger, I'm gold, whatever it is, let alone anything else. And probably often most people's fear is dying, so you want to be well, Yes. So, and the last one is, may I be free from suffering. And predominantly, the only person who can help you be free from suffering is oneself, because I was going to say another word, but unpleasant things will happen. It's sort of like things happen. And that's fine, because that's life. Things arise that are beautiful, and things fall, and disappear, and things happen that we have a sort of view that we don't want to happen, but it's life. And it's always how what we do with how we work with our mind, particularly in that, with the gap, and just thinking, what's the best I can do? But so often we create more drama. And I was watching something last night, actually. Yes, a movie. There's this older person there, a lovely woman. And there was this huge sort of storm, hurricane coming, and there was this woman she was with getting really anxious, really fearful, and shouldn't we be doing more or whatever? And this other one saying, well, we'll deal with it. We've done all we can, and we'll deal with it. We don't have to, we can, play a game now. We don't have to have an unpleasant life now. And it was somehow, I haven't quite got it across well enough, but there was a real message that, yes, how much anxiety how much we choose fear and anxiety that make now unpleasant. And we always deal with whatever happens. Don't we? We always deal with it, however bad it is, whoever's injured, died, accidents, whatever it is, dropping an egg on the kitchen floor, we always deal with it. And that's what makes us grow as well. We grow through these things, and it's sort of it's bringing a wise mind, and a loving heart, particularly to oneself in the face of those things, because it's us that we're creating the suffering for. But then, of course, that then has an immediate effect on whoever we're around. Because if we're, in a bit of a stew, those ripples go out. And people may say something to us which we might not like. Put ourselves together or whatever. Anyway, so yeah, it's a spirit that we're bringing to this practice. May I be free of suffering. It's really important. But let it in and just see and just be with that. You may just drop it in once and wait a few minutes or more, and doesn't matter. And then, like with this practice, so with the mindfulness of breathing, if we wander, the focus is the breath. We come back to the breath. And with the Metta Bhavana, the cultivation of loving kindness, the focus is the person, whatever stage you're on. Okay, so you'll wander, that's what we do, and you come back to the person. And sometimes maybe come back to the breath first as well. Okay, here I am embodied, and then come back to the person. But that's the focus, and it's keep it simple as possible. Like I am saying a lot of words now, but it's just trying to convey the spirit or the simpleness of it, and that listening and being with, so you don't frighten or miss the gem that's there. So what else? So it's also memory is really helpful with this practice. Memory of time when you're thinking about yourself, you particularly enjoyed, that was meaningful to you. Just remember, and memory is a really evocative for sort of kindness, loving kindness, a good feeling to arise, and the body really responds really strongly to memory. And of course, whatever sort of memory, it depends on the memory you're having. It creates an internal response. So when we're thinking of, a time we really enjoyed, and it makes a huge difference. And then a time with your friend, and the difficult person. Now, sometimes the difficult person we don't know, apart from this difficult situation, so it's hard to do it with that. But so often the person we're finding a bit tricky at the moment is either our partner or a friend or a neighbour or whatever, which we probably have had some good times with. Do you know what I mean? Or we have seen a positive side to them. Of course, that's not always the case, depending who we're choosing. But you see what I mean? Because so often when we're working with that fourth stage in life, it's often somebody, in our more immediate, relationship, sort of, whatever. There is a word, but I can't think of it. Anyway, hopefully you know what I mean. Yes, so that's really good. And of course, part of memory is imagination, and but particularly with the neutral person, sort of, in a way relating our enjoyable experiences in life and sort of imagining it for that, for them. And so often they, particularly if we choose someone as we go around life or whatever, and we get more of a sense, oh yes, that's what they look like, that's who they are, and so like, they're just, going about their life and wanting to be well, happy, and free of suffering. They might not know it necessarily, but most of our actions are trying to head that way, even if the awareness, because most people aren't aware of what they're up to. They're just sort of doing the next thing and not realising themselves and tripping themselves up, but that's the way it is. The other thing is hearing people's voice. Again, it's imagining, but just particularly your friend, or the person in that stage, just hearing their voice. And in the stages, it's often best to choose someone a similar age. I mean, this isn't sort of cast in stone, but it sort of somehow can make it simpler. So similar age, they've got a similar life experience to you. They're in the same similar generation, because, my word, somebody 20 years younger than me has been brought up in a different generation, and Christ knows what's happening in the teenage years now. It's like, that's another world in so many ways. Well, to me, because Jared, you might understand that a bit more because you've got some of them living with you. No, he's no, so no. Yeah, I can appreciate that. Yes. Yes, somebody's similar age. And often just the same sex, again, can make it more simple, just because whatever you think, men and women are different, and we do, there are differences. That's a generalization, but it's pretty standard in a certain sense. But also, ideally someone you're not sexually attracted to, because although that's lovely in a certain way, but you're cultivating something else quite quickly, which isn't quite what we're doing. And of course, they're just guidelines. It's not set in stone, but it's keeping it a bit more simple, I suppose, what we're pointing to. And ideally, somebody who's alive. Might sound odd saying that, but it just, and you can, of course, do it with somebody who's died. That's fine, but it can keep it simpler. I suppose that's this is what the tradition says, basically, and so these are sort of things that have been found over time to help. So yeah, what more to say before we have a go? Yeah, so in the mindfulness practice, you need loving kindness. So it needs to be imbued with that. And in the metta practice, you need the mindfulness of breathing, because you need that, sort of embodied stillness as well. They you can't, they're nothing separate, of course. Nothing is separate. We're not separate. I'm not separate. You know, it's an illusion that I'm separate. You know, and so nothing's separate. So it's like really just, you know, you can just come back, just to the body, ground, breath, person, you know, sort of like just keep returning to that. Right, I don't think I'll say too much more. I've got loads more I could say, but yeah, so what we're doing is encouraging, the more expansive, warmer aspect of ourselves. Yeah, that's what we're doing. And it brings so many benefits and riches when we do this. And like love is there, you know, it's just there, and it's allowing it to live. And you are love, you know. You as I often say, it's a choice, isn't it? It's a choice whether we let it live or not.